Is it ever too early to start learning? The answer to that, of course, is no. And so we've got some folks from West Valley that want to talk about early learning. Guys, welcome. Let me get your mics on here. And we'll let you each introduce yourselves so I don't wreck names and titles.
Hi, I'm Stacey Drake, and I am the Assistant Superintendent of Learning and Teaching for the West Valley School District.
Learning and teaching.
Hello, Dr. Peter Finch, Superintendent.
A regular guest. Sort
Excellent.
of. Irregular guest, but good to see you again, Doctor. Appreciate it. Stacey, thanks for being here. So I'm going to get to my questions. I happened to listen to a little bit of the old West Valley School Board meeting the other night on was putting it on Facebook or YouTube or something, and there were some interesting comments that I want to get you guys' thoughts on. But first, your issue, early learning. What are we talking about today? You guys have a center out there,
We're
right?
really excited. We have a site visit coming on Thursday with educators from across the nation. It's the AASA Early Learning Cohort, and it's a cohort of educators that come together for professional learning. They do site visits in the fall and the spring. They've been to Dallas, been to Tampa Bay, and now they're coming to West Valley, Yakima.
Hear, hear. They get done with that highfalutin riffraff and get down to brass tacks here in Washington State where the rubber meets the road. Yeah. So are these folks that are actually in the classroom in other places, or these administrators that are going to take stuff back to their districts? Or
Yeah, mostly superintendents and other educational leaders. They're looking for best practices from across the nation. They released a toolkit recently to share these best practices, and
that's cool.
They're coming to West Valley to see these best practices in action. So we know that early learning is really important. We know that the research shows that if students come into kindergarten ready, then they're ready to go on a trajectory of success throughout their educational career, and that they're going to have higher graduation rates, higher college attainment, better life outcomes. So it's so important that we focus on early learning. And in West Valley, we have this partnership with all of our early learning partners in the community, and we align our practices in early learning and in our elementary schools. So it's going to be exciting that they're going to come into classrooms and see what we're doing in classrooms in West Valley. That's where I was going to have Stacey share about this badge book that we have in West Valley, where students are going through the standards at their own pace, and some of them are just taking off and going just great achievement in our elementary classrooms.
Excellent. Stacey, are these ideas that you guys are implementing, did they come out of this cohort's recommendations from other places, and now you're doing it here, or are you guys innovating and they're going to see something that maybe goes in the next edition of the book?
A little of both.
Okay.
Every good teacher borrows and copies
Sure.
from other ideas. So this badge book is an idea that we learned a few years ago at a convention. Where, starting with kindergarten, we've swapped grades for badges. So if you think about a 5 or a 6-year-old in a kindergarten class, they don't understand grades. They don't understand the report card. They don't know what those numbers mean or those letters mean. So instead, we've taken those learning standards in grades pre-K, K, and 1, and we're working on second grade, and we've swapped them for badges, much like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts earn badges. These are little badges that kids put in a book. They're actually just colored address labels, but we call them badges, and the kids get excited. They know what those badges stand for. They knew what they need to do to earn the badge, and they self-choose what badge they want to work on next, and we can get the family involved as well.
So they're actively engaged and making the choice, and thus they have ownership and go to work.
Exactly.
Right.
You said it, man. You could come on staff.
I know my colored labels, Dr. Finch. I know my colored labels pretty good.
So we have Ellen Galinsky is a nationally known author. She's going to be coming to the site visit and presenting to the cohort. And she's all about student ownership for learning and building that executive function at a very young age, so that students can pay attention, stay on task, and be self-directed. And quite frankly, we hear that people don't get fired at Microsoft because they don't have skills. It's because they can't work in a team. They can't have these soft skills, you might call them, but they're skills for the 21st century. So we're working at a very young age to have students be self-directed with their learning and be problem solvers, and then we're going to just keep that going all throughout our system.
Fantastic. Now, I guess the question might be, when you say they got to be kindergarten ready, is there more of an onus on parents now?
What's your message to parents, I guess?
I understand how easy it is to fall behind when you get into the actual classes, but to think that your launch pad could put you behind.
Well, parents are the first and most important teachers for kids. And we want to support parents so they understand what are the kindergarten readiness standards. And we actually this year, we're always looking to get better in West Valley.
Sure.
So this year we have what's called play and learn groups on Fridays, and we have that at all 6 elementary schools. That's something new this year. In the past, we had it before COVID, we had it at a couple of schools. And over a 3-year period, we had about 100 parents and caregivers participate. This year, we've had over 200 in just 1 year, because we've opened it up to all 6 elementary schools. And we also combine this with our home visiting. So we have home visitors that go out twice a week, either Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. They bring a book or educational toy to the family. And then on Fridays, we invite those families to come in to play and learn. And it's the same staff are staffing the play and learn, so they have a relationship with the families.
They've been to their
and
homes.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we want to have, and anyone's welcome to play and learn. It's not just the home visiting parents. Everyone's welcome to play and learn. And honestly, it's just a fun time. When I need to be re-energized and kind of refocused on why I do what I do,
see what's going on.
get to the play and learn. And someone last week was saying, "Hey, Dr. Finch, you can still do crisscross applesauce." So I was down on the floor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
kind of
Well, but think about that. That sets an attitude that, it isn't like a negative or a sterile thing you're heading off to when you go to school. It can be fun if you are engaged and involved.
That's what we've talked about, that this transition to kindergarten, it's not an event, it's a process. We're building a relationship with families, and then they can learn about what are the readiness standards. And what our family engagement coordinator, Minerva Pardo, I was talking about, this is a chance for us to build trust with families. She said it's a chance to build trust or to rebuild trust. Maybe there's been families that haven't had a very good experience with school, but we want to invite them in, have a great experience for their youngster, and get them ready to learn.
Wow, sounds fantastic. That's why you're here.
That's why we're here.
Right?
That's
what it's
right.
all about.
It's not so hard either. Playing is learning for birth to 5. It's all about the play.
We're still doing it here.
You're still doing it here.
That's right. It's the touchstone of this program. Well, that's fantastic. It really is, and I'm delighted that they decided to pick good old West Valley and Yakima as an opportunity to come check some things out.
Yep. On that toolkit, they talk about equity from the start. And so when I think about that in early learning, I think about we have a jump start to kindergarten that we do in the summertime. And equality would be giving all kids the same thing. So do all kids need that jump start to kindergarten? I mean, there's a lot of families working with their kid at home, and they're ready, right?
Right.
But there are some kids that could use some additional assistance and have that jump start to kindergarten. So with the equity mindset, we're going to reach out and find who those families are that could use this additional assistance. Who are those kids that need that jump start? Get them in there in the summertime and have them have that jump start to kindergarten and have them ready to learn when they come in at kindergarten.
Yeah, that's when the day opens. No, you don't want any young child having to be confused and lost at even at the kindergarten age, what other kids are doing, because they'll know that something's not right, and that can color their whole perception of school and their place in school and all of that. Right?
I guess the other thing is that we're getting results. So if you look at our kindergarten in the spring, so kids still come in at different levels, but in the spring, our teachers at kindergarten have been able to get those kids to read. We have 3 of our elementary schools have had 100% of students reading at grade level by the spring of kindergarten. And even during the pandemic, it's just amazing work that our teachers are doing.
Got any remedial classes for old has-been radio guys?
Yeah. The play and learn. Play and learn every Friday.
Reading
There we
issues
go, you're
of our
welcome.
own.
Crisscross applesauce.
Got it. Well, I don't want to horn in on the good doctor's turf there on the applesauce thing. Hey, I do have a question, though. We listened to the school board meeting from West Valley earlier last week, and the parents were really frustrated. Is it just school policy, Dr. Finch, about responding to people's questions and issues rather than just sitting there and listening? I mean, and I'll just back it up with this. When I was on city council, it was a policy, not a law, that we couldn't answer them. And we had the answers many, many times. We just sat there and let them be frustrated. And that seemed so ineffective to me. And there was a lot of frustration being felt by some parents on that. So is that a school policy? Is that a state directive? Why can't the boards engage with people?
Well, the board can engage, and we're doing outreach to go to the PTSA meetings and have more engagement with the board in the community. During the actual board meeting, it's just real difficult to be able to have understanding of what the current practice is, what the laws are, and to be able to respond in the moment. So we've been doing a response to public comment at every meeting. So we have the questions that might be asked at the board meeting, and then we'll come back and give a response at the board meeting as well, the following board meeting. But to try to do that in the moment, I think is very difficult, because you have 5 board members, you have all the principals of the buildings that are out there with the procedures that they follow. It's just difficult to kind of pull all that information together in the moment.
But you do have a policy where if you come back the second time, you can get answers to those questions. And
yes, and the other thing is my door is always open, and I have had parents come in, sit down, want to learn more about what's the curriculum in West Valley, and we'll sit down and walk that through with them at any time. So, they're welcome to contact my office, and Stacey and I have sat down to look at different curriculum issues with parents, and I really think like once they have a chance to sit down with us and see what we're doing, then they've been very satisfied with the answers.
Get them the right answers. All right.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the issues that they were concerned about is, and I think that we hear it here on our program, we see it nationally, and that is the concern about CRT and critical race theory and those kinds of issues taught under different names, because some people feel that those names represent cover for ideology that maybe they don't want their young people exposed to. What's the West Valley position on what would be traditionally considered the negative side of critical race theory by those parents that aren't in favor
Well, I
of it?
totally agree with the parents that say our job is to educate, not indoctrinate.
Right.
So our job is to educate, and we don't have an agenda that we're trying to push on certain, national politics. We want to have students have a great education in West Valley and be prepared for the next level of learning. That might be post-secondary college, but also we have this registered apprenticeship program going on where kids are making up to $30,000 a year their senior year of high school with high school credit, college credit. So, to me, I know that there's like a national politics going on with the CRT, but in West Valley, we're trying to educate kids to get skills so they can be successful in the future.
Well said, sir. Appreciate it. Anything you want to add, Director of everything? Hold on. What is that? Student needs what? To be vaccinated. Somebody caller wondering about students and vaccinations.
Yeah, the state
COVID-based stuff.
Yeah, the state has come through and said that it will not be required to have the COVID vaccine. So we're just going to follow what the state does. Yeah,
Gotcha.
We follow the state laws and the state guidelines.
All right.
Stay out of trouble.
So what day is the guests coming through and check things out?
They are coming through our schools on Thursday.
Are you baking a cake?
I am not baking
You're not
a cake.
baking a cake.
Well, it is May 5th, which is Cinco de Mayo.
Hey.
So we're going to do the debrief of the classroom visits down at the Skill Center at the YV Tech, and we are going to have our junior high ballet folklorico group is going to dance for them. So and they'll have a little Cinco de Mayo theme, I think, at lunch that will be served by our culinary arts students down at the YV Tech. Yeah.
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, we got to show off all the good things of the Yakima Valley.
Absolutely right. That sounds great, Dr. Finch. Appreciate it. Stacey, thank you for coming in. Dr. Finch, appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's so many concerns, and this is Teacher Appreciation Week, so we do want to make sure that you guys get the proper positive focus. Earlier, I shared some of my wife's reviews out in East Valley, and the kids love her out there, and want all teachers to kind of be that way, concerned about the individuals as individuals and not just part of a herd. And I know that so many teachers are that way. The amount of time they put in, the amount of their own resources they use to make an environment that will keep the kids interested and engaged. Teachers are amazing creatures, man. They really, really are. And you guys get to work with them every day and help provide an environment for them. And thanks for what you guys do in that regard, too.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to share on how important early learning is. Because really,
exciting.
Early childhood matters most.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate the opportunity to share that with
get a
your
launch
audience.
pad right away, and then you just keep reaching for the stars after that. So
That's right.
right.
good on you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.